So this one is for the progressive flag. Oh my God. I do not know who in their right mind would want this couch in their house. It has earth growing on it. Like, it literally has things. I mean, okay, so I granted, right? This is just a reaction. Oh man. Well, if you want to see that previous video I did, because I feel like I look pretty good, I'll go ahead and link that one in the description, and you can go ahead and go on that wild ride. Yeah, so I have nothing against trans people, right? I really don't. I could care less. Y'all do what you want, live your lives, but sometimes y'all just take things, I guess, too far. And, some people do not appreciate what is going on with all this gender conformity shit. And it's like, it's a lot to take in for the average American or the average citizen or the average person or the average man or woman, because that's really all that's out there, right? I mean, if you really want to just get down to the very nitty gritty, there's just men and women out there, right? Whatever you are, that's all that's out there. But the minute it starts getting into like mainstream TV, and the minute those issues start like bleeding onto, bleeding into outlets that can just be, broadcasted to anybody, not necessarily like anybody, but of all generations, all ages, and that's just daytime television, right? And I mean, it's not like people haven't been interviewed before and haven't been discussing things like this before, but there's never been a debate so much as like this. But so one of my favorite YouTubers, Matt Walsh, she went on to Dr. Phil a couple weeks ago. I had no idea he was going to do that. And I watch his channel quite frequently and quite often. So it's like, I had no idea he was going to be going on Dr. Phil. I'm pretty sure maybe the Daily Wire maybe talked about it, but I didn't know. So I watched the episode and the clips from it, and man, it's so harsh. It's very hard to watch, knowing that these trans activists and these people that he's debating are, people in the real world, of course. It's not like we're watching it and just going, oh no, like, he's arguing with these people. It's like, no. He's actually arguing with people that are genuinely trying to cause things like what he's talking about to happen without really caring about what is happening, or at least it doesn't seem like they fucking care. I mean, but anyway, I'll go ahead and start it off and show you they start off discussing I'm going to start off discussing with the pronouns and pronoun stuff.
Why is it important for educators to teach about gender identity, gender presentation, and pronouns? Why do you think that's important?
Because there is a difference. There is biological sex, and a lot of times people are conflating sex and gender. So there's biological sex, and then there's gender, and that's a social construct in the sense that just because you're born biologically a female doesn't mean you automatically want to vacuum, for instance, which is usually a feminine activity, or conflated that way. And so it's this idea of giving children in age-appropriate ways an understanding that these things aren't set in stone. Gender identity is not tied to biology.
You say that gender's not set in stone.
It's not.
What do you mean?
I mean that's just factually incorrect, saying that. So you have biology is the chromosomal makeup and reproductive organs and all of that. And so that would be sort of the nature side of things. But the nurture side of things is where we see more of gender identities.
She began by saying that my view is extreme. Okay, so the view that every single person on Earth has held up until 15 seconds ago is extreme, and the view that almost everyone does right now still hold is extreme, apparently, according to her. But there is this they are conflating gender.
It's so cringy. It's so crazy. And for the record, I just want to say that live studio audience clapping and cheering is complete bullshit, and this proved that to me.
There is this they are conflating gender and sex, because on one hand they say, well, you got your biological sex, but then your gender is whatever social construct. But then they turn around and say that trans women are women. So a man who identifies with the gender, the social construct of womanhood, actually is a woman. So if you can laugh all you want, but this is a logical problem. You are conflating sex and gender just by saying that. So that's the problem.
Because I've been to TV tapings before, and they tell you to clap and shit, or they'll like let you know when you're supposed to cheer and all that shit. And man, some of the times people cheer in these videos is just like, why are you cheering? Because it don't make no sense what you're cheering about, because you're not really cheering for like sanity.
There's biological sex, and then there is gender identity. Part of me wants to ask why you care so much, because it's really not that big of a deal.
Oh yeah, can I answer that? I'd love to answer that question. I care about the truth. So basic truth matters. I want to live in a society where people care about the truth and we're grounded in truth. Right. I care about children, and these insane ideas about gender are being foisted on kids, and that bothers me quite a bit. I care about the women who are having their opportunities stolen from them. I care quite a bit, yeah.
And I know that sounds rude and that sounds rough for me to say, but that's what it seems like, right? So she's talking about how there's biological sex and then there's gender, and that gender isn't set in stone and it's a construct, and we need to be teaching kids that like they can be whatever gender they want to be. They don't have to live in the body that they think they belong in. It's like I don't think that's something to be teaching children personally. And that's what Matt says. I don't think that should be something you should be teaching kids, and especially in these schools where they have like gender neutral bathrooms and stuff, and then something like this does happen where a woman is raped or someone is attacked, and then to just brush it off as like, I don't see why you care so much. Like, it's not a big deal. That's like 1 out of 50 girls. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's still one. All you need is one, usually, in scenarios like that. But I guess if no one else, if other people got attacked but didn't say anything, I guess that discredits them also, right? Doesn't matter. Like, they didn't speak about it when they did. They can't just come out of the woodworks now. Or if they did talk about it, maybe they deserved it. Maybe they were rude to the person. But it's like, it doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't be able to say, I deserve to use the women's bathroom because I am a woman. I could say that, but I shouldn't be able to, but I can, because I just did. And someone would definitely let me into the bathroom for the sake of, oh, this is obviously who he is. And it's like, no, it shouldn't be able to work like that. Shouldn't be able to work like that. And having her be able to say that, like, oh, I care about children though, and like, it's like, well, you kind of don't. You obviously don't. You care more about letting them know that they can be whatever gender they want versus the people who are set in their genders taking advantage and actually causing harm and hurting people. Like, it's so insane. Like, I really cannot understand how this was cheered for. Like, how people were like so enthralled to be like, yes, this is why we're here today. Not for this Matt Walsh fool who's talking sense, but for we are the cisgenders and also the non-cisgenders or whatever. Like, and it just is so hard. It was so hard to watch. And then, they have this other doctor scientist guy on there with his family, and they're talking about how they don't think that the bathrooms are right, and they just kind of gloss over it. Like, they're just kind of like, it doesn't matter. Like,
to say gender is over is radical stuff that should not be taught to third graders. That's dangerous. And if you extrapolate and continue on, then it leads to to gender neutral bathrooms, which they're doing at the school district next to us. And they're doing that throughout the country, and gender neutral bathrooms and locker rooms. And that's just not safe. That is a dangerous situation to keep them combined in the same space.
Yeah. How do you feel about the gender-neutral bathrooms and locker rooms?
Yeah, well, I agree with my fellow Matt over here. Loudoun County is a famous case that the Daily Wire we helped uncover. There was a gender non-conforming boy in a dress who went into a girl's restroom and violently raped a young girl. After that happened, that's when the school district decided, oh, you know what? Now we're going to open up the restrooms and invite the boys in with the girls. Now, here's what happens.
So...
Because we hear a lot about, well, gender nonconforming people, transgender people, it makes them feel bad if they're not given access to the bathrooms they want. Well, okay, so they have their feelings. What about the feelings of the girls who are getting raped? There are many girls and many women who are speaking out and saying, We want privacy in our facilities. We don't want a man in the bathroom with us. And then what we hear
Most
from
people
what we hear
want
from this
privacy
side,
in the
what we hear from this side.
I did not
is,
say that we want open bathrooms where anyone
okay,
can go in.
what we hear.
So they, of course, are, you know, debating more about this, and it's just wild. Like you.
Between gender ideology is that no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. It's like, what is a woman?
Well-
Can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't. Because it's not for me to say. Womanhood looks different for everybody.
What do you define a woman as?
An adult human female.
And what does a female mean?
Well,
how
that's
do you define a
someone
female?
with female reproductive organs.
Okay.
Someone who's, you know, here's the thing: when you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA.
Like, can you define a woman? I can define a woman. A woman is someone who, you know, is a woman. Like, yeah, has the organs of a woman and can give birth to children, and usually has the workings of breasts, usually does, like, most of the time, 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10 does not have a dick, and you know, that's about it.
So I'm trying to understand. Your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Is a biological female.
So what happens if we have maybe someone who is female, identifies as a woman, right? You know, cisgender woman, right? As you just explained, but maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce. Maybe doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right?
Yeah, like you don't want you say that if a woman, a cisgender woman, you know, that's their thing. Like, he really loves interrupting, doesn't he? But that's cisgender woman. But what if she can't have children? What if she has no fucking ovaries? Like, what? You know, women get like molested and raped, and they get their ovaries destroyed, and they can't like use them. But they're still. What does that make them not a woman anymore? Like, I don't understand how that works. They're exciting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people are excited to see and hear what he has to say. I mean, come on, it's about Dr. Phil. I mean, it can't be that exciting. But shit. All right, hold on. He just kind of said some shit. Hold on. I have to call you back. Hello, sorry, how y'all doing? My name is Nigga Williams. I am the lawyer of Craig. Yeah, pretty much I just want to let you know what he was saying. Pretty much that, you know, some rape victims and some women who have been sexually assaulted, you know, in extreme cases of sexual assault, could often have their uteruses damaged, not ovaries, but their uteruses could be damaged from, you know, that trauma and or from that force, you know, from whatever attack was done to them, and that would prevent them from having kids. So it's like, I mean, shit, are you saying that if a woman gets, you know, violently raped and can't have kids anymore, that she's no longer a fucking woman? Like, come on, nigga, that's fucked up. I don't care who you are, or what you want to identify as, or what you want to think of. That's fucked up. But that's what my nigga Craig was saying. But he said ovaries. He didn't mean ovaries, right? He meant the uterus. But Jesus, I just had to clear that up real quick for legal purposes.
Women are women if you don't know what it means.
Right? So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
That describes what?
people who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently.
That doesn't-
And so
I'm not
trans
asking for
women are women too.
Okay.
And you want to hold on.
Say it again. Trans women are women. What you won't even tell me what the word means, though. So
you
that's
want to
the
reduce
problem.
women, you want to reduce men down to maybe just their genetics, our genitals,
No.
our chromosomes, right? That's what you're
What
saying.
you want to
is that
do is
that's what
what
we are
you
at the end of the
you
day.
want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood.
Okay.
And turn it into basically a costume that can be worn. We've got when
So,
we.
as a
It's real
man,
funny.
you're
It's real
literally
funny. It's
saying
real funny
what a
when
woman
you're.
should look
Yeah,
like.
right.
As a man, you're literally saying this is what a woman is.
Yeah. Well,
Isn't that a little sexist?
Because I am willing to
Wow.
define it, but you won't.
I mean, if you want to be a woman, fine. But you cannot teach others that they too can be women. Okay, you can't say, like, that's why the Matrix wouldn't work if you woke up in the Matrix and then went and tried to wake everybody up in the Matrix. It just wouldn't work. It would be pandemonium, and it would be just how would you do it? It just doesn't work that way. So if you want to not know what a woman is, if you want to not be able to explain who your mother was or what your mother was, she was just a social construct who just so happened to give birth to a piece of fetal tissue who ended up gaining consciousness shortly thereafter, who then became myself. Like, it's like, if you do not know how to describe what she is and you're just like, I just can't say that. And like him, he cannot say that because it is up to the person. Like, it's like, yes, I will say you are right. So why are you telling everybody this on Dr. Phil? You can keep that truth to yourself and take it back to bed and go to sleep and be happy that you are you, but you do not need to throw out shockwaves of unnecessary, like, you know, there's like false information, and maybe there's just unnecessary information, or maybe invaluable information, because that's what that is. That's what they are giving you. They are saying invaluable sentences of information that are being cheered at because people don't, or I don't know what, like, I don't know how Dr. Phil really feels about all this, because he's but a host, and he just seems very like he does in every Dr. Phil, like very like, well, why are you saying why this? So I don't know why they would clap over the things that shouldn't like be clapped about. Like, why? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I just don't know. Like, it
To ask why you care so much, because it's really not that big of a deal.
Oh, yeah. Can I answer that? I'd love to answer that.
I can't fathom it. I cannot. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. That some people just can't. It's hard to grapple with that. It's that easy, right? It shouldn't be that easy, and it's not when you think of like the amount of money people put into surgery and stuff to change their appearances. But it shouldn't be as easy as saying, I am now a woman, because you can't say I'm not, because you don't know, right? Like, you can't, that's gender appropriating. Like, you can't come at me that way because you don't know how I could say I'm a man. I could say there's no way I am a dude and I'd rather just stay a dude. But I mean, there's no way you could believe that, I guess, because I could wake up tomorrow and be like, oh my God, I was wrong. Like, it's like, I could do that, and you would have to accept me. And if I had a live studio audience, people would be cheering right now, even if they didn't agree with anything that I just said, and they thought I was a lunatic. But that's where we're at now, it seems, because he went on Dr. Phil, and yeah, his videos are gaining almost 1 million views on his thoughts toward this and his breakdown of his talk with them, and how he. Again, if you watch his channel, if you know anything about Matt Walsh, you know the guy is already the best-selling LGBT book author, or child's book author in the United States. And, you know, he's been attacked multiple times by his very own community. And he does it all to show that it doesn't matter what gender you are, because sex is biological, unfortunately, and it goes right down to the bone.
When you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA. So that's why if someone dies,
Okay.
we could dig up their bones 100 years from now. We have no idea what they believed in their head, but we can tell what sex they were because it's ingrained in every fiber of their being.
Interesting.
And if you want to be older and realize that maybe that's not where it is for you, maybe you can be able to change who you are then. And maybe now, having more people be comfortable with who they are, they can just show people, instead of telling people, show people that it's okay to be you.
I don't want to get going because I keep you here too long, because you know all what I'm what I've said, and you know what I've done, and you know what we're doing, and I know what you're doing.
You're living your best life. If anyone else can't take it, that's on them. But you don't need to go and tell everybody that they need to fucking share a bathroom together. And that if a young girl is raped, or if an adult woman is belittled because she can't have fucking kid, like, really? Because she can't have kids? Oh man.
Negro, please.
I just get so heated because it doesn't make any sense sometimes when you see these people on being interviewed or trying to justify something. You're just kind of like, that's not what's happening here. It's, I mean, you can say it is, but that's not. We can all say things, but it's like, I guess that cancels what I was gonna say out. But I don't know. It's a hard watch. If you don't want to take my word for it, go and watch it. I mean, I'll throw that link in there too. But I don't know what our future is gonna look like soon, because it's just so much. But anyway, thank you for much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Are you tired of being politically correct? Or possibly being politically corrected? People not using your preferred pronouns correctly, or maybe you yourself are just feeling a little transfused? If so, call Lawyer Lee Williams. He'll be there by your side during these tedious times. He's smart, efficient, funny, mighty charming, and even knows he's a man, even though he enjoys being a woman. But what are we to judge? So contact 1-800-MY-NIGGA to speak to Lawyer Lee Williams today about any situation you may have with your life, reality, society, or your community, for that matter. If you have any situation that you need to discuss or need any legal guidance on, please contact, again, 1-800-MY-NIGGA to speak to Lawyer Lee Williams immediately.